North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to make North Korea the world's strongest nuclear power.
North Korea continues to toot its own horns over the latest missile launch when experts remain divided over the test's success. Through its state-run TV, leader Kim Jong-un vowed to make the regime the strongest nuclear power in the world.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to make North Korea the world's strongest nuclear power. The state-run Korean Central News Agency reported on Wednesday that he made the remarks during the 8th Conference of Munitions Industry in Pyongyang, which was held to celebrate the regime's experiences and accomplishments. And one of those key accomplishments was, of course, the recently launched Hwasong-15 ICBM, which is said to be capable of reaching anywhere in the United States. According to the report, Kim Jong-un said that the country will victoriously advance and leap as the strongest nuclear and military power in the world. Kim added that the successful weapons development marks a historic victory for the North Korean people, but one that came at a great cost. He went on to award the developers of the Hwasong-15 on the last day of the special military conference. This is the first time that North Korean state media has publicly reported on the conference.
Kim's character of wanting to show off his achievements may have led to the event being made public. And by declaring that North Korea is a full-fledged nuclear power, the leader intends to put the nation in a position where it can negotiate at the international table.
Experts say that the unprecedented coverage aims to solidify North Korea as a nuclear power and that the regime has no intention of scaling down its weapons program.
In what appears to be a major shift in policy, America's top diplomat says Washington is willing to begin direct talks with Pyongyang with no conditions attached. Kim Hyun-bin zooms in on the move that provides a fresh sense of optimism. The brewing tension between the two sides could cool down.
Speaking at the Atlantic Council Korea Foundation Forum in Washington on Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said Washington is ready to talk with Pyongyang at any time without preconditions.
We've said from the diplomatic side, we're ready to talk anytime North Korea would like to talk. And we're ready to have the first meeting without precondition. So we need the DPRK to come to the table for talks.
It marks a big shift in the Trump administration's stance, as it's the first time the United States has suggested opening a dialogue channel without any caveats. Tillerson said it's unrealistic to say the U.S. would only engage in dialogue with Pyongyang on the condition the regime abandons its nuclear development program. So he said he hoped Pyongyang would make the right choice and sit down to talk about it. But he warned North Korea, if it keeps pushing the boundaries, it may end up exhausting its diplomatic options. South Korea's presidential office spokesperson Park Soo-yeon released a written statement on Wednesday, stating that Seoul and Washington have been working closely to bring North Korea back to dialogue. Park says that if dialogue can help denuclearize the regime, the allies are willing to hold talks through diverse channels. Before Tillerson's comments, Pyongyang had hinted at the possibility of engaging in dialogue with the United States. A key North Korean official at the UN, Cha Song-nam, told reporters in Beijing on Tuesday that talks are possible if the right conditions are met. Pressed on what those conditions might be, Cha said the conditions North Korea requires. With both the United States and North Korea pushing for dialogue, watchers say the two sides might finally have an opportunity to quell tensions through diplomatic channels.
While Tillerson did present a softer stance, he also reiterated the U.S. will not accept a nuclear-armed North Korea. He called American military preparedness to respond to any threat strong.
The Pentagon says the United States is, quote, well-postured to deal with a possible SLBM launch by North Korea. The remarks come amid reports that Pyongyang's submarine-launched ballistic missile program is advancing. A spokesperson for the Pentagon said that while he cannot comment on specific intelligence regarding North Korea, the U.S. is, quote, watching them closely. He added that Washington remains ready with South Korea and Japan to counter any threat from North Korea. And in regard regards to the ongoing trilateral missile tracking exercise between Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo, the spokesman said it's intended to maintain readiness against North Korea while also making sure that the allies can communicate and employ the necessary capabilities to counter such threat.
He also revealed details of preparations for a possible confrontation with Pyongyang. He said China is taking steps to prepare for a possible flood of North Korean refugees and said that Washington and Beijing have discussed how the North's nuclear weapons would be secured. But White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders released a statement shortly after Tillerson's comments. It says Trump's North Korea stance has not changed and adds that North Korea is acting in an unsafe way toward the entire world.
Bipartisan support represents an important milestone in the president's plan to rebuild our military and bolster our national security. For the first time in 7 years, we are increasing rather than shrinking the size of our forces. This NDAA also provides our military service members with the largest pay increase they've seen in 8 years. To put into historical context, it authorizes one of the largest defense spending increases since the days of Ronald Reagan. Previous administrations sadly oversaw deep cuts to our armed forces with serious implications for our military readiness and capabilities. This hindered the fight against ISIS and other enemies of freedom and made our people less safe. In signing this bill today, the President once again made it clear that we are serious about enhancing military readiness, expanding and modernizing our forces, and providing our incredible men and women downrange with the tools they need to do what they do best, fight and win. President Trump also called on obstructionist Democrats in Congress to stop threatening to shut down the government. As the president said, at this time of grave global threats, Congress should send a clean funding bill to his desk that fully funds our great military.
Gave some really interesting remarks at a luncheon earlier today, and he spoke in really strong terms about China and Russia. He said they were undermining the international order and stability and ignoring the sovereign rights of their neighbors and the rule of law. He went on to talk about Russia in particular. He didn't use the words election meddling, but he talked about subversion, disinformation, propaganda, and basically pitting people against each other to try to create crises of confidence. So what I wanted to know is, does the president agree with all of General McMaster's statements, and is that a foreshadowing of a national security strategy that will take a harder tack on Russia and China than the administration has so far?
Look, I think we've been very hard on Russia from the beginning. There have been sanctions. We've increased energy exportation from this country, and we've done things to put pressure on Russia, asking them to engage in a bigger and greater way on some of the common enemies that we face. In terms of like a rundown, I haven't had a chance to sit down with the president and go detail by detail, but General McMaster certainly is someone who understands and knows the president's feelings and our relationships with foreign partners, and something that we certainly feel confident in him speaking about. Thanks so much, guys.